Hi, everybody. This is Dawn Mitchell, and welcome to Dawn of Sports. If you know anything about women's hockey, you already know our next guest. Abbey Murphy is not only a star for the Gophers, she's not only their captain, she's a top 10 prospect coming up in the PWHL draft. Also a huge star on Team USA, who's just coming off a sweep of Canada in the 2025 rivalry series. Lots coming up as the Olympics are knocking on the door around the corner. So without further ado, we are going to be talking to one of my favorite players on the ice coming up here, Abbey Murphy.
Great get, Dawn. We appreciate it. Welcome to Talk North. This is Dawn of Sports. Dawn, of course, from Fox 9. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios. Best way to listen to this show or any show at talknorth.com is to subscribe to your favorite podcast app. We're also doing some YouTube shows. The John Krasinski Show, the Viking Update Show, Randy Shaver's High School Football Show are also available on YouTube. You know the lineup: Russo, Krasinski, Roy Smalley, Lavelle O'Neill III, Dawn, et cetera, et cetera. We have a great lineup. We do appreciate our sponsors, Lexus, Wayzata, and Minnesota Masonic Charities. Back to Dawn.
All right. Well, Abbey Murphy, I'm so excited to have you on our podcast because for years now, I know you're a grad student now, but for years, you have been one of my favorite players to watch. I even talked to Brad Frost about you, and he says, in the best of all ways, she is a pest on the ice to everyone. I just adore her. She can shoot. You're just having an amazing career with the Gophers and now Team USA. Thanks for joining us today. I don't know how tired you are because I know you're just back from the rivalry series, but how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me, Don. Happy to be on here. It's been great, coming off a high with Team USA per usual. Every time you go there and represent your country, it's just you just make memories that you'll forever cherish. And yes, I'm exhausted, but I'm just happy to be exhausted at home with family and friends. So like I said, it was a very exciting week coming off a sweep. So yeah, excited for the holidays. That's all I could say.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's better to go into the holidays knowing that you came off this 4-game sweep of Canada. The next time you guys will meet won't be until the prelims, right? In like February for the Olympics. So let's start first with this rivalry series. It's always, people say this, it's either going to be USA or Canada, USA or Canada. You guys must be feeling pretty good about Team USA coming off shutting them out in this series. How good does that feel right now?
For sure. It felt a little weird. We were always talking on the ice. It didn't feel real while we were on the bench and stuff like that. But, I think our team just kind of found a way to come together and just dominate. That's what we do. It's so fun playing with the best players in the country and all over the world. It's just, it's a crazy opportunity. But every single game you just go in there pumped up and, you put on that jersey and you're facing against Canada, you're getting a rivalry like we always say about it, but it's nothing. You can't even put it into words. You gotta experience it to see how it really feels. And, it's unreal. So.
I know in one of the games, I think it was on the 10th, not only did you have 2 goals, you had 2 assists, you were player of the game. You were feeling it that day. I think every game you are, but take us through that day. How was that for you?
It was awesome. Like I always put it in kind of in this way, but playing with the best players, it makes it a lot easier to make plays and people finish off your passes and stuff like that. But playing with people like Hillary Knight, Taylor Heisey, Kendall Coyne, Kelly Panic, I can go on a long list. But it's just playing alongside them. It gives you so much confidence to just play your own game. And it was really cool to kind of participate and help my team in that way. So our team in general just had a fabulous, outstanding game. 10-4, who puts up 10 goals like that,
Whew.
So awesome. It was great.
So how cool is it for you knowing, like you mentioned, like Taylor Heisey, Kelly Panic, former Gophers stacked on your team. I know you get to meet the other girls from growing up and competing against another, and now they're on Team USA. But just being Gophers, just having that bond to begin with and knowing the mindset that you guys all coming from that same program to move on, whether it's Team USA and then to the PWHL, to your pro lives. What can you say to that program and your mindset that set you guys apart?
being a Gopher is special. It's given me so much. It's given me I picked to be a Gopher just because of the culture they build there. I've built these friendships and relationships with these girls that I honestly never thought I'd really have. But obviously there's an age difference, and I didn't get to spend all these years with them. But whether I went to school with them for 2 years or no years, I feel like I'm really good friends with them, and that's just something that you can't really find. But it's what Gophers are. We're a tight knit community, and just bond so close together, and it's really special. But yeah, I give that back to the U 100%. It's a blast.
I started the podcast by saying like you're a pest in like the best of ways, and like I'm originally from Boston, so I know you're from Illinois. We can be scrappy, right? But you toe the line, right, between scrappy and penalty, right? And I just love that about you. And you're only like 5'5", but you pack a punch. When you get on the ice, you're like, I'm just going to get in there. You're like the Energizer Bunny. Were you kind of born that way, or did you have to become that way when you first started playing hockey?
Yeah. Growing up with two brothers, that'll do it to you,
Right.
Dad, who was in the Marines, mom, who was a competitive gymnast, softball player growing up. So I just kind of had that compete in me, that meanness side that my brothers gave me, beating the crap out of me when I was younger. But just kind of had it growing up, on the South Side. It's tough love over here, and you got to kind of learn to fend for yourself. So as soon as I started playing hockey, that was kind of how I built my identity a little bit, not everything, obviously.
Nope.
Want to help score goals and do everything I can to help my team win. So like you said, kind of finding that fine line between being that pest, annoying person to play against, but also contributing as much as I can. So it's been so much fun. Obviously it's fun, but people don't know the real me. So I don't really, I just got to do my job,
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Yeah. Well, tell us, what is the real you then?
Yeah. I don't know how to put that into words, but a lot of my teammates can tell you that I'm not who I am on the ice. Off the ice, I'm a fun, loving, caring person who wants the best for my teammates. I have their back, they have mine, but who I am on the ice doesn't necessarily show who I am off it.
Well, and I think we've seen that with, history is littered with amazing athletes that are like that. I was just talking about, like, for the Vikings, like Andrew Van Ginkel, who was like the nicest, kindest, shy guy. And then you get him on a football field, and if you're a quarterback, look out, like once you get into your sport, it's unbelievable. But what I also love about your game, Abbey, is sometimes you don't find the finesse and the goal scoring in that same kind of mindset. And you are one of the best, if not the best, goal scorer in college hockey right now. And I'm watching you play in that rivalry series, I'm going to say just on the planet. You just kind of have a nose for sensing when the puck is coming your way, redirect or just finding that shot. You pride yourself, I think, on becoming a goal scorer and having that finesse as well, don't you?
I appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely. Growing up watching hockey, I was a huge Blackhawks fan. I loved the Patrick Kane era when he played on the Hawks. So, I kind of just always wanted to kind of be that person that played such a big role on a team. So it's really special. And then obviously growing up watching the women's game and what they've all kind of done for the game. So for me, I do have a knack for goal scoring, for setting up people for nice plays. So it's so much fun, and you can't quite get sick of it ever.
Great to have Abbey on the show. Thanks to Dawn. This is Dawn of Sports. We want to remind you we're coming from the Aquarius Home Services Studios. We also want to thank Lexus of Wayzata and Maplewood.
Yes, it is Lexus December to Remember time. It's here. It is the very best time of year to purchase a new Lexus, and it's not even close. And keep in mind, it doesn't matter which side of the town you're on, because they have locations in Wayzata and Maplewood. Too many incentives to even list right now. So there's a reason why they call it a December to Remember. It's a great time to go see Charlie Swanson or his great staff. December to Remember ends, you guessed it, at the end of December. So see the inventory at Lexus of Wayzata or lexusofmaplewood.com.
Thanks also to Minnesota Masonic Charities. And Abbey, I'll throw a question at you. What has you excited about the Minnesota pro hockey scene right now? The Frost, the Wild making a big trade, or both?
A little bit of everything. I can't, I'll never trade back my Chicago roots, but it's cool to see, obviously, the Wild getting Quinn Hughes is huge. I don't think anyone really saw that coming, but I feel like there's a lot there that can happen. They can, oh my gosh, make the playoffs, put up a huge fight. So, but yeah, the P-Dub, insane. Obviously dreaming of this as a little kid, you see how far it's grown and what the professionals have done to grow the game. It's so inspiring. And for us to kind of have this dream and it's already happening and it's even growing, it's really special. And I'm grateful for everyone that's kind of played a role in that.
Well, Abbey, being on Team USA, then you must know Quinn's mom, Ellen, very well. She's got her fingerprints all over that program, helping out as well. How has that been?
Absolutely. Yeah. Ellen's great. Playing as a player development role on our team has been really cool. She's got so much to share about hockey, about the game, how it's played, kind of help us change our game in ways that can help us contribute more for Team USA. And, it's cool to really watch her sons compete on the NHL level. It's crazy. But yeah, Ellen's special and she's helped us out a lot. So we're really happy to have her.
So Ellen and I are friends from way back in the day, way before she was even married, back in our East Coast days. And I do know, and she doesn't get enough props for this, she was on the women's national team, but this was before women were allowed to compete in the Olympics. So I know how much this means to like that generation, of being just a spectacular athlete and not being able to go on that stage. So when you get to play and learn and kind of pick the brain of someone like Ellen, do you appreciate that more? Like how far in just a short amount of time? Because you look at Ellen, she's young, she's hip, she's whatever still, but she did not have a chance to do what you guys are doing. Does that make you appreciate this more?
Every little bit. It's actually crazy to think about that long ago. It wasn't really possible. You couldn't really dream about going to play at the highest level, and I think for Ellen, she's trying to get us to be as successful as possible. And I think that's what's so special about her is that she cares about us and she really wants us to succeed as much as possible. So, obviously everything that she's done in the past about her game, she's just trying to teach us a little bit more because obviously we have every little dream possible now for us as the Olympics, professional league. So it's really incredible how far the game's come. And Ellen's just teaching us a little bit every day.
Well, you're already known for your speed and your blazing shot. So when you get to the Olympic level, is it more about refining? Because you can't contain Abbey Murphy. You got to let her be who she is, right? So it's like, how do you kind of tweak that without changing it?
Yeah, you learn stuff. Obviously, I love being fast, but there's just little things you learn every single day playing with the national team at the highest level, where to be, when to go somewhere, stuff like that. I think refining is a great word, but it's just super cool what I learned from my teammates too, every single game, every practice, just a little talking, chatter to each other. It's so helpful, but there's always something more that you can improve on no matter what. And that's just something that I'll always put into perspective that there's always something. So it's really cool. And obviously just going on these USA trips and going back to school, it's a little bit of a different jump. So trying to take away pieces from both and inquire them in my game is pretty cool.
Did you have a female hockey role model as well? I know growing up and like loving the Blackhawks, but Chicago, just like Minnesota, Massachusetts, they're known for their women hockey players as well. Was there one particular that you like?
Yeah, growing up on the South Side, obviously Kendall Coyne, lived close to me. So that was pretty special. Everything that she's done for the game, for Team USA, she's just incredible. All around person, hockey player, mom, it's so cool to see what she's done in the game and outside of it. But oh my gosh, she's just amazing.
She is. And I know you mentioned your brothers. Patrick played football. Dominic, he's wrestling at St. Cloud. Is he still there? He's still at St. Cloud, right?
He graduated last year. Finally, he's out. He was there for a lot of years, but all done now working.
Oh, so you've got brothers that not only were brothers. So I have 4 brothers, right? There's a difference between growing up with brothers, which already toughens you, but brothers that played sports, right? Because they don't leave it at the door. You have to compete. How was that in your household?
I'll put it in one word: scary.
I hear you.
Yeah, you had to compete for everything, whether that was we had a basement here. We played shinny all the time. We had it redone a couple years ago. I think there were 182 holes in the wall, whether that was from heads, elbows, hockey sticks, pucks, whatever. But it was cool. You're really grateful for it because it toughened me up a little bit. But I would say there were times that we didn't have to make things so physical. But it's cool. I'm happy I grew up with brothers because I couldn't imagine if I grew up with sisters how different life would be. But yeah, it was crazy and hectic all the time.
I remember once when we were growing up, right when we got old enough to share a legal a cocktail with our parents, right? So it's holidays and the stories start flowing. And my older brother was saying all the things that they did to me and some of my younger brothers, but they'd be always finishing with, and she didn't cry. And she didn't cry. I'm like, my mom was horrified. She's like, what? And I said, I tried to tell you. I tried. You told me to zip it. If you're going to play with the boys, you got to learn to take it. Sometimes you don't have a choice. You just have to survive it, Abby, right? Just survive.
Absolutely. Just get through it. Just get through it.
Well, now they're going to take credit that you're doing so well. We helped you. We were part of that.
Yes, they do it. They say that all the time. They send me videos and they're like, look what we've built.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know how it goes.
Let me ask you this. How do you mentioned it briefly just a few minutes ago. I mean, yes, you have a little bit of a break, but you have the Olympics in February, but you still have the Gophers. You guys pick back up January 2nd. We got to hit the road, go out to Connecticut and play Sacred Heart and then play some other games. How do you kind of set your mind? I know hockey is hockey, but it's so many different teammates, things. How do you recalibrate your brain to okay, I'm going back to Gophers next?
Yeah, it's honestly just kind of see it as a blessing. I'm grateful that I have so many teammates on both sides, at the Gophers and with Team USA. But yeah, it's a very different, not mindset, but just playing field, going back to school. Obviously it's awesome. I'm still grateful. I'm 23 years old in college. I'm grateful for it and made some friendships that, I wouldn't really expect as being the 5th year, the oldie in college. But it's just amazing. I just every single day before I just take it day by day at school because it's going to be over with sooner than later. And it's just so much fun. But when I go back to USA and leave back and forth to these trips, it's weird, but it's actually really easy to switch mindsets because it's just, you know what you're there for. And when I'm representing my country, there's only one goal in mind, and that's winning gold in February. So college kind of sets me up for that, which is really fun, just competing with my teammates. So yeah, I mean, it's weird, but it's also really fun and a really cool opportunity.
So I love how you said it sets me up for taking that next level. If you had to say the number one thing, Brad, Frosty or the coaching staff has helped you with over these past 5 years the most, what would you say it is? Yeah,
just being good communicators. They help me with anything that I need. Obviously it's been a long 5 years. Obviously went to the Olympics during my second year of school. They they've been the best supporters of my journey personally, and they've set me up for success in every possible way. And I'm grateful for it. It's why I picked the Gophers. I trusted in the staff there ever since. Obviously, I had a lot of staff members, but even from my freshman year. So I'm grateful for who they are and how they've helped me become a better player and a better person. But just their support is just the best I've ever gotten. So proud to be a Gopher and proud to represent being a Gopher. So.
Well, I'm really proud of you because not only do you have hockey for college on the horizon and the Olympics in Milan, but there's also the 2026, I like to call it the P-Dub, I feel like even though I don't play, I'm going to call it the P-Dub now. You got the P-Dub draft coming up and you're a top 10 prospect. So pro hockey is in your future. That must be just so exciting. Like, it's so much going on right now that you probably don't even have time to think about it. But knowing now that hockey doesn't have to end, when your Olympic days and your college days are over, that you can play for your profession. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it gives me the chills when you say it out loud. Obviously, it's been a work in progress for a long time, And like I said, if it wasn't for people like Kendall Coyne, Hillary Knight, Billie Jean King, putting this whole thing together, it's just, we're so lucky for it and to look forward to something so cool. So, obviously last year I had a rough decision to make going back to school or going to the P-Dub. And I'm just itching for it to come around next year. Obviously not thinking about it too much, but just so excited mostly about being able to hit. And
right.
But really excited, obviously it's just a different level of playing style. So can't wait. It's going to come very fast.
Well, Abbey, I'm happy that you made the decision to stay one more year because I think, and I didn't think it was possible, your game is even better. The league can't wait to have you. The Olympics can't wait to see you in February, and of course the Gophers. So I just want to thank you. I love spark plug athletes. That's what I've always called you ever since you were a rookie. I put your guys' highlights on every single weekend from our show, and you're just a joy to watch. And I'm so excited for your future. So thank you for carving out a few minutes for us, because I know it's been crazy, but I think that your story is one worth telling. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Dawn. I really appreciate you guys. This was a blast. I appreciate you guys coming on here and wanting to talk.
All right. Well, and happy holidays. Enjoy your break.
Thank you. Best time of the year, spending time with family and friends. I can't wait. You guys as well.
Amen. All right. Thank you, Abbey. You're awesome.
Thanks, Abbey.
Thank you, guys.